Okay, guys, we are live. Welcome to the Richie Hicks Jr. Show, sports podcast. Here with two of my really good friends, Mr. Idris Salam and Brett Bandick.
Yo, what up?
Boys, how we doing? How was your weekend?
Smooth, working but smooth. Cold but smooth.
How about you, Brett?
Yeah. I worked a lot too. Um, coming home late, dude. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this.
Let's roll.
All right. And we always pay homage to the past here. And our show is called Super Bowl Hangover 2.0. This is a fun show, but always a little sad because, football's over, my favorite sport. And we're going to hit on that and a whole lot more. We got a lot of stuff to cover on this bad boy. I am excited about this show, boys. But I want to start with the NFL free agency picture. We've got a lot of big names. And before I even dive into some of these names and some of these teams, I want to talk about the two teams that made it to the last day of the season. Obviously, we know the Rams won. We've kind of covered and divulged leading up to the game. I've done my fair share of final thoughts regarding the game. I mean, I even went into the Super Bowl halftime show. But I want to ask you guys a question, and I'm going to kind of round it out with what I think before we dive directly into these free agents. What do you boys think the Rams need to maintain another chance? Okay, they want to go back to back. Aaron Donald's up in the air. Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. are approaching free agency. Brett's favorite, Matthew Stafford, he's going to be a year older. What do the Rams need to do to maintain top-tier status amongst the NFL? Brett, you started up. What do the Rams need to bring back?
First and foremost, they need to bring back Aaron Donald. I don't think he's going to retire. I mean, granted, he's going out on top of the game. But if you've seen any recent pictures of this man, the guy is jacked. He's in the best shape of his life. I don't understand for the life of me why he would retire and not try to repeat. It all starts with him. If he comes back, Ramsey is going to come back. Von Miller's hit or miss. I think it honestly depends on what Aaron Donald does. I think if Aaron Donald comes back, I think they'll, re-sign or maybe franchise tag Von Miller or franchise tag Aaron Donald for that reason. But I don't.
Free agency. He's talking about retiring.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to retire. No way.
I don't know. I didn't believe Michael Strahan was going to retire until he did. Mm-hmm. Hold on what you said here. Idris, what do you think they got to do?
They got to bring back the band. Donald actually said he'll come back. He'll stay with the Rams if they bring everyone back. Mm-hmm. And I think they'll have to. I think OBJ, he's gone. He's gone for the season probably, or most of the season. Contract-wise, he can't ask but for so much because, Robert Woods is coming back and that young kid is there. So that's going to push him down to 4, so.
It depends on his surgery, too, and how he recovers.
Right, yeah.
Any opportunity he had to get that last big money contract,
it's gone.
Him getting injured, in my opinion, destroyed that. And if, the Rams spent a lot of money to do what they did.
Yeah.
So personally, I think that they could be looking at cap hell regardless of how this plays out. But if you got to make a decision on Von Miller or Odell Beckham Jr., you got to go with Von Miller because the defense is the strong suit of that team.
Right.
I'm not taking anything away from Odell's skill set. But with the injuries, the constant injuries, and this is the second injury on that knee. And Idris, you and I spoke about this the other day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I got to work way early and, I looked like I was plotting something in the parking lot there, but in reality, we were just talking football.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to repeat in the NFL. I mean, nobody's done it since the 2004 New England Patriots.
Right.
And whether Donald comes back or not, I mean, obviously, hypothetically, if he retired, it's a big loss. But I still think that team has a lot of talent where they would obviously draft at that position if Donald were to retire. And then you really go hard on making sure that you bring back, Von Miller. Yeah. And I still don't see them as repeating, and it's not even a knock on the team. It's just that NFL history is rather cyclical when you look at how often something like that happens.
And
if they were to repeat, because I have my own thoughts on them catching quite a great deal of breaks to win it this year.
Right. It's not like they marched through the season.
No, not by any means.
It's not.
And
like
most champions.
Number one, you cannot draft another Aaron Donald.
No. You have to replace the position.
Right. But they don't even have any draft.
You can't. You have to replace him with 3 different players, and that's not going to happen.
There's a lot of ways to look at things, because when Michael Strahan retired, the Giants didn't miss a beat on that sack. So I can't necessarily say that. What people fail to realize, yes, Aaron Donald's a great talent. I mean, your team has proven this time and time again. The system is what ultimately wins more times than not in the NFL. Yes, Aaron Donald is a phenomenal talent. And everything that he's ever done in his career is going to end up in Canton. Right. But prior to the Super Bowl, he never hoisted that Lombardi. Right. Sometimes you have phenomenal players that maybe they have a career-ending injury or something bad happens contractually, then the team wins without them. That's happened too. Michael Strahan could have got another ring with the G-Men. Right. He chose to retire on top. I'm 50-50 on what Aaron Donald's going to do. I don't know. Now, the Cincinnati
I think he'll come back.
I agree with Idris. I don't see him retiring. There's no way. He's in the best shape of his life, man. He's on top of his game. No way.
That he's the most important player in the franchise, and he's making a reasonable demand that if you want me back, I want to see all my guys back, or as many as you can keep. Kind of like what TB12 did with the Buccaneers when they tried to run it back.
And he has the power to do that.
Absolutely, as does Aaron Donald. And you just said Tom Brady. The Bengals were also in this game. I'm going to start on this one, then I'm going to run it to you guys. Short and sweet. They need to upgrade the offensive line, and they need to find a cornerback not named Eli Apple.
I don't know if you guys have seen the most recent tweets, let alone everything regarding Eli Apple.
I did.
This guy is fired up, man. Like,
he's a special dude.
The entire NFL world, including everybody in social media, has lit this guy up.
I saw it.
And he is fired up for next season. He's gonna prove everybody wrong, and
he loves making these ridiculous predictions.
He's been doing that all the way back to New York.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, come on, man. I got to give the guy credit. I really do.
Credit?
Like he's taking it, with a grain of salt, and he's gonna go into the off season and work harder and try to improve on his game.
He was critiqued heavily in New York for not having tough skin. I will agree with you on that. He's handling it like a champ.
Yeah,
he is.
I'll give you that much.
And he should have that way. I mean, dude, he's been getting his balls buckled.
And more so than that, even bigger than Eli Apple, because if they could have finished the game on the ground, it would have never come down to Eli Apple versus Cooper Kupp.
But they knew who to throw to.
Fix that O-line. It's not a terrible unit, but they have holes. Ranked 20th in the league. Kind of a minor miracle that Joe Burrow was able to get him there.
Well, with Joe Burrow.
Listen, I'm an underdog guy. Mm-hmm. I'm an underdog guy. I'm gonna root for the underdog every single time, and I'm actually rooting for this man. I want to see what Eli Apple is capable of next season. I want to see what he can do.
Capable of getting replaced. Go ahead, Idris.
As for Joe Burrow, I'm not surprised at his toughness because he used to be a defensive back. and he was a
No,
heavy hitter.
Joe
Yep.
Burrow is a tough
Yeah,
kid.
he used to be a defensive back. So he wanted to play defensive back at one point, but he was good at quarterback when he went to LSU and Ohio State at first, but he wanted to play defensive back. So he's a tough guy. As for Eli Apple, I saw enough of him in Ohio State and in New York to say, whatever thing you were going to fix is not going to happen. He had a reputation coming out of Ohio State where he can catch someone. The problem is he holds a lot. That was his reputation. He always holds. He holds.
And he gives that inside of the field up a little too easily. Brandon Marshall nailed it on the head.
Yeah.
When he kind of divulged into Eli Apple's weaknesses in his game. And listen, anybody that can make the NFL is a good player. I'm not going to be an ignorant person and say that just because I don't like the dude.
Right.
But I stand by what I said. The Bengals need to upgrade that position, but the biggest need above all else
is the O-line.
Is the O-line. Yeah.
That asset at quarterback, and Joe Mixon will have an easier time. I mean, Joe Mixon gets some really tough yards.
Right.
But enough about those guys. We already have talked enough about the Super Bowl. We got a lot of free agents coming out of and this is going to be a story in addition to the upcoming NFL draft. We're not going to hit the draft just yet. I got a few names for you guys. And Idris, I know that you were on top of some of these quarterbacks, but defensively, we've got the Honey Badger. We've got Jadeveon Clowney, Von Miller, who we already mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Brett's boy, Chandler Jones, maybe a reunion in Gillette. We got Carlton Davis, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got Randy Gregory at Dallas. Let's hang on defense for a minute, guys.
Okay.
We already know that Von Miller is probably going to stay with the Rams. I think we could agree on that one. But this name kind of jumps off the page to me. Chandler Jones. That would be a hell of a free agent addition for damn near anybody.
Yeah.
Because that man...
He's coming back to New England.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, the Patriots should be in a position to afford him.
It all
give him a decent qualifying.
But the thing is, you have to incorporate the fact that J.C. Jackson has to be re-signed as well.
Right.
Yes.
He led the league in INTs, with a Dallas guy there. If they re-sign JC, they bring back Chandler as an edge rusher.
Oh, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And you guys are already blessed on defensive talent. You got some very good wide receivers that are going to be out there, in addition to kids in the draft. But we've spoken about your team in the past. New England needs to upgrade the receivers, particularly guys that can stretch the field. I think you guys did good at the tight end position.
Mm-hmm.
But, your O-line played well. Your running game has gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones showed a lot of grit. He had some stinkers, but rookies are going to do that.
Yeah. He surprised
me. That guy that can stretch the field to make Mac Jones' life a little easier. And that's going to help the 2, the 3, and the 4 receivers if that can happen.
Well, one guy I really wanted to actually come back to New England is Cordell Patterson.
I want him.
I think what he did in Atlanta is, number one, is mind blowing, because the guy put up fantasy numbers beyond belief.
Yes.
Nobody was expecting that. And in that system, I mean, granted, McDaniels is gone, but man, that guy, he's so versatile. He can literally do any position on that offensive side of the ball.
Right.
Whether it be a deep threat, he can be a Debo Samuel kind of guy.
Run back.
I think, oh man, dude, he's got.
And he's tough. Man, he's tough.
He's so dirty. He's so dirty.
He's tough.
Like I want him to come back, man. I really do.
It's not happening. I'll tell you what.
I like to have him
that
myself.
offense, you made mention of Debo.
So dirty.
You made mention of Patterson.
Yeah.
That's Shanahan's offense, and that's a trait of Shanahan's offense, how he likes to employ the wide receiver in the running game. And
and we already have a running game, so that's just an added bonus.
Yeah, but that's a Shanahan thing. I don't even know who's running your offense just yet. I think Cordarrelle Patterson stays put, at least for now. If the Atlanta Falcons are having a stink bomb of a year come week 6, he could potentially be on the trade block. And I think that's how someone will be able to grab Cordarrelle. I think Cordarrelle's coming back to the Falcons for now.
I love that play. He's never played for the Giants, but when he was in Chicago, New England, I love me some Cordarrelle Patterson. That guy is
He's a talent. He's a talent for sure.
Tough guy.
Davian Clowney's another big name, an overpriced name in my
pass.
No, no.
That injury history.
Clowney.
But you know something? I said when he came out of college, I said I told people he's gonna be a bust. Nah, you hating. I said he's going to be a bust.
He's talented, but he reminds me a little too much of LeVar Arrington and not enough of the guy that so many people tried to compare him to, which really got me aggravated. We're talking about Lawrence Taylor. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Arrington in his prime, albeit it was short, LeVar Arrington was damn good until the injuries started catching up to him. Yeah. But I just get a little crazy how people feel so comfortable comparing players to Lawrence Taylor. I don't get it.
Taylor changed the game. He changed the whole position of line.
100%.
He changed the whole position.
Even with Aaron Donald, and don't get me wrong, Aaron Donald is arguably, when it's all said and done, going to be the best at his position. And I won't argue that. He's got the accolades.
Yeah.
But
I won't argue.
When I start reading on social media, some people coming out of their lane and saying that he's the greatest defensive player ever.
Nah.
No.
No,
sir. Lawrence Taylor, in addition to changing the game, is the last guy who won a defensive MVP. For the league. The league MVP. That is like unheard of in the Super Bowl era. Only the second in league history to do it. No, I'm sorry. And, he has 2 rings to Donald's 1, and he has a league MVP.
League MVP.
Yeah, that's remarkable for a defensive player.
Here's my issue with that. And, everybody knows the league is revolved around quarterback play.
Yeah.
The quarterback is the guy, MVP, blah, 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 hashtag Aaron Rodgers, piece of shit. You get where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
But, what it was back in the day, like quarterback play was not, it wasn't up to where it is now, because now, the league is protecting the quarterback.
They're
so
catering to the offensive game.
Yes.
Yeah. They're catering to the offensive game.
That's a whole nother topic. I don't want to get into that, but I'm just throwing it out there. Like
I get where you're going. I mean, I always think that although, a lot of people are comfortable with even saying that Brady is the GOAT, and I don't have a problem with people saying that, I still think it's only fair that you have different GOATs of different generations, because truth be told, Tom Brady didn't play in the 80s, and that's no knock on him, but he didn't. Just like Joe Montana didn't play in today's times. Me and Idris recently said that as great as Eli's career was, he played in the right era for his skill set. Mm-hmm. Eli's not mobile. Yeah. That's part of the job now.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tom Brady's the only quarterback to win a Super Bowl in 3 different decades.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I'm not arguing the greatness of the man, but what I'm saying is he didn't play in the 80s or the 70s. And while I'm not knocking on the stats, it's no secret that the stats are inflated in this era of football. And I'm not just talking about Brady. I'm talking about Breeze. I'm talking about Stafford. I'm talking about anybody who plays in this era.
Because
the stats are inflated.
It took the rule changes for Breeze to break Johnny Unitas' record. Johnny Unitas' record stood 30 years.
Yes, it did.
Touchdowns and the whole lick. You know,
And even Tom Brady himself said that he does feel bad for defensive players because he himself said that he enjoyed playing more so in the 2000s as opposed to the 2010s because, to Brett's point, he played in a lot of different eras, like the 3 decades kind of interceding into each other. Mm-hmm. You know, the face of the league before Tom Brady was Brett Favre.
Right.
And Brett Favre obviously played in the 90s. And still had a lot more of the 80s rules.
And the first Patriots dynasty, that first dynasty was based on defense. It wasn't, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like you can't, in order to get a defensive, you know, MVP of the league, you know, it's tough now just because everything is geared towards the offense, and you know, it sucks, man. It's sad to say.
I give Brady credit. I think with his brains and his toughness, because he's taken some hits. I think he'd have done well in the 80s and 90s. I mean, he may not
hence
like
the first Super Bowl
now, but I think
the first Super Bowl against the Giants.
Yeah, I think he would have, because he's tough. Brady's a tough.
Oh no, I'm not questioning Tom Brady's toughness.
Oh yeah, he's a tough.
All I'm getting at is nobody's playing 22 years if they started in 81 or 79. That's all I'm trying to say.
Oh no.
And that's why Joe's stats, a lot of times it gets me annoyed when people are like, oh, he only threw that many touchdowns. It's not the same thing.
They were killing Joe.
That's why you have different eras.
Yeah, they were killing
in the NBA, I feel a little differently about that. I don't feel this as strongly in the NBA. Because
hold on, we're getting off topic here, boys.
Oh, we've been off.
We're getting off topic. We're getting off topic.
We've been off topic, but I want to wrap up this free agency thing before we move on.
Yeah,
got some names for you here. Davante Adams. This is a big one. I would have to think that the future of Aaron Rodgers solely depends on what the Packers intend on doing with Davante Adams. If I'm the Packers, I'm franchising Davante with the intent to lock him up immediately, not to piss him off, not to have him play on a franchise tag, to buy a little time, lock him down. Aaron Rodgers, I think he's coming back to Green Bay for a lot of reasons, but mainly because of how sour and how piss poor that performance was. I think him and the organization are on better terms than they were going into this season that just ended. And like I said, you know, legacy is a big deal. And I think Rodgers wants to finish it a lot better than that. Not scoring an offensive touchdown in his house. He's been unfortunately getting, you know, a lot of flack for being a bit of a choke artist.
Yeah.
And he should.
He should.
Right? He should. You know, you touched base on this a while back, Rich. You know, Green Bay is a finesse team playing in a northern state. You know what I mean? Like you can't be finesse come playoff time. You gotta run the ball, you gotta control the clock, you gotta play defense, and you gotta time manage. You gotta have to time manage.
Well, they did the defensive part. They lost that game on a blocked punt and a blocked field goal.
Yeah, I know that.
Hold the opponent's offense to 6 points. They're playing playoff football on that side of the ball, but I don't want to defend what I saw. He had a shit game. All I'm gonna say is that was like playing on a hockey rink. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
but I get it.
Won, but the 49ers outlasted them. And to your point, the 49ers were better geared to play in that kind of situation, in that kind of weather. So yes, the point there. Quickly, boys, Chris Godwin, Tampa Bay Buccaneers got to figure out what they're going to do with him. I do believe that.
And Fournette, yeah.
Yeah, Fournette too. There's been Saquon's attached to basically any trade rumor right now. I think it's all about
Gronk. And
Gronk might be going to Cincy. Gronk's not coming back to Tampa. That much I can tell you.
No.
Mike Williams.
He wants to go to Cincy. He said that.
Mike Williams, underrated.
Dude, he loves him some Cool Joe, man.
He loves some Joe, man.
He loves him some Cool Joe.
No, I mean,
I want to see what happens there.
It's definitely a possibility. You know, Dallas Goedert, I wouldn't buy too high on him, but he is, you know, the tight ends are at a premium in the league.
Yep.
Teron Armstead. I'm looking more so at even linemen.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, this is a lot of these guys' last real contract. You take a guy like an Allen Robinson, you put him in the right offense.
Oh man,
he's going to make it work. I mean, you know, offensively challenged team for sure. When you look at what was going on in Chicago, I mean, I'm not the first guy to run up and give Odell credit, but one thing I will say is when you put him on a pass-happy team, he started to shine.
Yeah.
And he missed some Eli. I just wanted to make a little mention of that. Odell actually gave Eli quite the compliment during the Super Bowl.
Sure
if Odell doesn't get re-signed to the Rams, I can see Robinson going there.
Maybe.
Yeah,
but once again, they got to be able to afford this, Brett. And I don't
they
think
they need a 1-2, man, because otherwise Cooper ain't gonna cup he ain't gonna have the season that he had this year without a 1-2.
Spent a lot of money to win one Super Bowl, and I think that's where the buck stops. I don't think they're gonna repeat. We're gonna move this on, though. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd talk about football for the entirety of this show, but we got a lot to speak on. And I'm gonna speak on this quickly. We got two guys that don't know shit about football, but they had a divorce.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Idris, take this home. Start this up, bro.
Thank you.
Are ready. I see you. He's steaming.
Oh, he's boiling. Boiling. I can see it.
You know what? I like Stephen A. Smith to a point, but he's not my favorite. I like Max Kellerman more because Max Kellerman, yes, he can get political, but he's more sincere. He's more, I mean, whether you agree with him or not, you can tell when he speaks, he's keeping it real. You may not agree with this topic, he's keeping it real. To where Stephen A. Smith has this bravado. He has this, it's about me. And when they first divorced, I was like, nah, there's more to that, to where they just want to go into a different direction.
Absolutely.
Then when I heard him on Mad Dog Radio talking to Russo, he basically said, I don't speak to the guy. He wanted it similar to how it was with Skip Bayless, where one guy took one side, one took the other side. And Max was like, no, I'm gonna tell you how I feel. And Stephen A. didn't want that. He wanted to where, and it basically came out of his mouth, he wanted to be where he could shine.
Yes.
And Max was taking that shot. Because speaking on behalf of the black community, we were loving Max Kellerman because he was smacking Stephen A. upside the head. He was calling him out on a lot of nonsense, political and sports wise. He was calling Stephen A. out. And I could tell Stephen A. was getting aggravated. I said, man, they're going to kick him off the show. Next thing you know, Max was gone.
And to your point, I'm sorry. You keep going. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. And like I said, Stephen A. basically said on the show, I don't talk to him. That told me right then he wanted him off the show. This is like this past week. I don't talk to him. We don't communicate with each other.
Yeah. Which show is this?
Mad Dog Radio. Mad Dog.
Ryan Russo.
Ryan Russo, yeah.
Ryan Russo. The Russo back to the early Madden Russo days?
No. You talk about no. He's young, much younger. Him and Stephen A. have a radio show. They've had this show for I don't know how many years.
Yeah, this has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah, and him and Russo are real close. They're like buddy. So he basically said, I don't talk to him. So that tells me he got him kicked off the show.
I'm gonna critique both these guys for a quick second. I've always viewed neither one of them as knowing a damn thing about football.
Right.
I've always felt that Stephen A's strong suit was the NBA. I feel that he's very knowledgeable in that sport. And I also feel that in Max's case, he's incredibly knowledgeable with boxing. Because as a boxing analyst, I think Max was top tier.
He is awesome.
Absolutely. Max does embarrass us Giant fans occasionally because he is that much of a homer. He loves
and Patriots fans. He was a Brady for a long time.
See, me, I wouldn't waste the energy because we didn't lose to Brady. If I was a Jet fan, I'd use that energy.
Oh my God, I'd be mad.
You know what I mean? Or if I'm sorry, I'm not going to waste that energy. I'm going to give Brady his flowers, and I'm not going to hate the man because we beat the man.
Right.
And to be the man, you got to beat them.
Man.
That's right. And Brady's the man. I don't got a problem saying that shit. Getting back to these two, I do agree with a lot of what you said, Idris, in reference to Max getting a lot of support from viewers. And I do believe that one of the things about Stephen A. that has turned me off over time is that in addition to becoming his own entity, which at the end of the day, I guess anybody that gets in this racket is what they're looking for.
Right.
But what frustrates me with Stephen A. Smith is that he's so far removed from the roots of being an analyst, of covering sports, that he's become just almost like another character.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, why don't you just start doing movies or something? Like,
well, you know he does General Hospital.
You're too good for this. And I don't like when you claim to know what you know about a certain team that I really adore.
No, but no, let's not. No, stop. I already know where you're going with that.
All I'm going to say is this.
I already know where you're going with that.
I'm not even going to go there. All I'm going to say is this. A guy who really knew about what that team's about laid the smackdown on him. And I'm being fair because I am far from a Tiki fan.
Right.
But he put the smack on him. Ultimately, you know, when I think of ESPN in the golden era, there are so many guys that I miss. You know, Dan Patrick, the late great Stuart Scott, Linda Cohn, her contributions that she made. Yeah. I mean, you still got Chris Berman. Him and Tom Jackson at the birth of that show was groundbreaking. But to me,
NFL primetime.
To teleprompter, read it, like it, smile, and then you get a couple of characters here and there. But not pleased with the overall product that ESPN has brought. And if I'm looking for football, I'm going straight to NFL Network. I do not care for ESPN's coverage for the most part. I mean, we're talking about divorces. We're going to talk.
Hold on. Can I put my 2 cents on this?
Yeah, sure.
I've never been a fan of Max or Stephen A. Never been a fan of either one of them.
Okay.
Rich, I agree with you on Stephen A. on his popular subject has always been NBA. That's his most knowledge of anything.
And every analyst has their strong suit. I'm not knocking on them for others.
They do.
I'm not knocking on them for that.
And you know, I had a beef with Max for a long time. You know, after he said Brady was going to fall off a cliff, blah 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 blah.
Like 3 or 4 years in a row.
This is before the frickin' Atlanta Super Bowl. Yeah. You know, and you know he's ate his words. You know, he put his foot in his mouth and he admitted he was wrong.
What did we talk about earlier, my friend? Accountability.
And he fessed up to it. He's like, look, I messed up. I called it all wrong. Brady's the man. Yada yada yada. And he did. And he fessed up like a man. Stephen A. ain't never gonna do that shit.
No.
He ain't never gonna do that shit.
No.
And the fact that what happened with Max leaving the show because of Stephen A. Dude, he's pulling some Jerry Jones shit.
Exactly.
And you know he's tight with Jerry Jones. You know he's tight with Jerry Jones. Buddies for life. He's pulling some Jerry shit in Jerry's world, and that ain't right.
Nope. I'm well aware. There's a lot of layers as to why I was so irritated with Stephen A. going at my team, at Idris's team, our team, a team that you yourself have a lot of respect for. I don't want to go too far into it on this one. I have a whole offseason to do that. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about divorces, and I guess you could call this a divorce with a third party. There's some menstruation going on here, boys. All right. Your son's favorite rapper goes by Ye now, but he's Kanye to me. Because when I was a fan, he still went by Kanye. College Dropout, hip-hop classic, iconic album. As was graduation.
Preach.
Yeah.
As
Shout out.
as men, we've all been in situations, I'm sure the three of us can all agree on this, where breaking up sucks, bro. You go through all of the emotions, the idiotic phone calls, the VM that you wish you didn't leave. Maybe you do the little creeper drive to see if there's something else happening. But when you are in a position of power like Kanye West, and you're essentially asking your minions to go in on another dude that the only thing he's guilty of is being attracted to the same woman as you. I'm sorry, because my thing is this: at the end of the day, Pete Davidson didn't cause all those rifts between, and by no means am I like a fan of Kim. I'm a fan of Pete, to be honest, from SNL. I really enjoyed The King of Staten Island, and I'm a fan of Kanye too. I'm not as avid about him as I was, say, when The College Dropout came out. Right. But the point I'm making is that clearly this goes deeper than entertainment. I mean, personally, I think you're talking about a mental health issue here. And I do take mental health rather seriously. And I believe that this is one of those things where when you married someone who basically made her fame and fortune off of living in the limelight and everything outside of taking a shit has been on TV, I think these are the repercussions of dealing with it. And I know that one poignant moment in Kanye's life where he just hasn't been right was after the death of his mother. And I think a lot of fans of Kanye are just people that watch the news or that are into entertainment would probably point to that being as one of the snowball domino effects, so to speak, of his plight. And like anything else, humor is humor. I mean, shit, even Pete Davidson did something on SNL making fun of Kanye years before he was playing potentially future stepdaddy. Pete, run fast, get the hell out of there. And Kanye, you have so much money, pal. You're so damn talented. As Brett's wife said before we went on the air, you're a fucking genius. Move on, bro, please. That's all I got on that.
Yeah. Only thing I can say is the man's talented.
The fair one for charity. If you want to do it, fight the fair one for charity.
He's talented and all, and I agree. He gotta leave Pete alone, man. I mean, he had his chance, and he acted like Kanye. He acting like an ass.
But Idris, with all due respect to Kim, hasn't everybody had their chance?
You know what? I'm gonna start.
I'm gonna let Brett have this one.
No, you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. You really shouldn't. I mean,
In the words of Brett, I'm going to quote my boy here, because this is something that he used to tell me whenever I was kind of going through breakups or maybe like just like, a little unsure.
No, I'm gonna
forgive me. I'm going to quote you right here.
I'm gonna give my.
This is what my man used to say right here.
I'm gonna give my boy Pistol Pete some props.
As am I, bro.
Hey, Pistol. This is a sports show, right? He's the new Pistol Pete.
Oh dear God! Go ahead.
He's the new Pistol Pete. Call it like it is.
I fucked up. Go ahead, bro.
Call it like it is. He's Pistol Pete. That's all I got.
Yo, all right.
You know what? I just caught on to what he was saying.
You caught it, right? I'm like, is he talking about Pistol Pete Maravich?
No.
Is he talking about the real Pistol Pete from the Bronx?
No. He's talking about below the waist.
What are we talking about here? Let's get out of here. Christ, I don't want to get sued before I get a logo.
He reads me. Eye to eye, right there, Idris.
As you can see, I'm rocking the 33, the big Pat Ewing.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
My favorite New York Knick.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
I'm actually going to run a tournament with with the Legends Knicks after I finish Brett off in 2K upon his next visit to my humble abode.
Oh,
But
I have to play when I come down there again.
But fellas,
Yeah.
NBA All-Star Weekend, Obi Toppin winning the dunk contest, not exactly as celebrated as previous dunk contests. And hold that thought, because we're going to jump on that in just a bit. But we are at the midway point, or actually almost like the final third point.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you guys have coming out of each conference? Because I think it's safe to say that the West is probably a 2 to 3 team race, where the East is very clustered. Yeah. I myself like Golden State to come out of the West. I just think they have the deepest roster. I think they have the best team in the league. Mm-hmm. But in the East, I would have to say the road still goes through Milwaukee. They are the world champs. But if your buddy, and I'm being incredibly facetious right now, Kevin Durant is to get healthy in time, and if Ben Simmons can find himself on a basketball court before the year is over, I do think the Brooklyn Nets might have the potential to run the table as a lower seeded team. I'm gonna go Golden State, Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee's gonna find a way to win that conference.
I think I agree with you on the Milwaukee side of things. I think they have a lot of chemistry. They've been in the playoffs the past couple of years together, and they have what it takes to win. They know what it takes to win. As far as Philly goes, Brooklyn, Jesus Christ, Brooklyn, no. You know, Ben Simmons has not played in a year, and we're talking about playoff basketball here, boys. You're telling me that he can just pick it up like nothing? Like you got to have that endurance.
I'm telling you that Kevin
Durant have
half a player last year between Kyrie and
Harden. Kevin Durant can only take a team so far, number one, and he's getting older. You know, like I mean, Ben Simmons, whatever. Like, you can't expect the guy to pick up where he left off 2 years ago. The guy hasn't played. You got to get your legs back. You got to get your endurance back. You got to get the feel of the game back. I don't see that happening with him. I don't see them going past the second. I don't see them going past the second round. I don't see them going past the second round. And I'll be honest, that Bulls duo, DeRozan and Levine, whoo, man, that's the next Jordan Pippen duo. I went there, I said it, and I meant it.
They're gonna win 6 championships, and then all our kids are gonna watch this docuseries in about 30 years from now.
Probably.
Man, you throw out comparisons a little too loose, but I do like your point, though, Brett. I genuinely like your point. Still think Brooklyn can make some noise. Want to say this quickly. What a fail on the Lakers' part. Going into the year, I myself picked them to come out of the West. It reminds me, and I've said this to Jordan, I said this to Elliot on the previous shows, it reminds me a little too much of the Peyton and Malone Lakers that joined Kobe and Shaq. Russell Westbrook's not working out there. And I'm not completely blaming that on him, but it just doesn't work with what they try to do. I just think that the combination of the talent is actually slowing down the efficiency of anything they're trying to achieve. And LeBron's getting old.
They're not completely out of it yet, and the playoffs don't start and for a little bit. They might get in, yes, by the skin of their teeth. But AD's out; he's hurt for the next 2 to 4 weeks. I don't see them making a move. They're too old. It's either going to be. I mean, I actually agree with you. I think Golden State is going to make a really good run, and the only team to stop them is going to be Phoenix.
I say,
it really depends on Chris Paul's. We saw it last year. Once it got to the finals, he was done. he was wore out.
He was done. Yeah.
He was done. You know, and if they can somehow limit his minutes, or not have the series go 7, then yeah, I can see Phoenix maybe possibly winning it, but I don't know. I really don't know. I think Phoenix has the best shot. It just depends on the health of Chris Paul, to be honest with you. Like I mean, Booker is going to do his thing. He's going to put up 40 plus, 10, 15 rebounds a game, 3 blocks, 5 assists.
Brett, I'll get you just a spin on this, and then we're going to hit our final topic.
I say Chicago, man. I think Milwaukee can do it, but I think Chicago in the East. As for the Nets, I'm with Brett, man. I don't see them getting out of the second round.
And it's funny, I
just don't.
And I'm over here. Maybe I'm jinxing them, and that's good too.
I don't. You know what? Nah, I just don't see it. For the West, I said from the start about the Lakers. I said they're not going to do anything. I said they might be a 7 or 8 seed. That's what everybody, once again. Oh yeah. Westbrook was not going to work out. I said, and AD cannot stay healthy. And those are 2 things.
And LeBron's getting old, bro.
And LeBron's getting hurt a lot. So I don't even see them. I say I'm going with Golden State, but it wouldn't surprise me if Phoenix, and like Brett said, Paul got to get rested, because like I said, he was gassed. Yeah, when the championship came, he was gassed. He had nothing. That
game 3 was so pivotal. And I remember Brett was giving me the play-by-play because I was actually coming back from work, and I actually missed game 3. But looking back at that series, that was the turn point of all of it. And that point guard position in today's NBA, in any era of NBA basketball, is just so damn demanding. But my final call is I got the Warriors winning the finals in 6 against the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks. And I'm sure that we're going to dive into this some more. But, it's NBA All-Star Weekend. I'm not about the whole kumbaya of today's NBA All-Star games. Once upon a time, there was a lot more physicality in that game. But one thing that always draws my attention.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I love the slam dunk contest. And we're going to this is the inaugural start bench cut of the Richie Hicks Show, something that Jordan implemented on the previous Jordan Patrick Show. Give you a quick rundown. The rules of start bench cut. I give my 2 guests 90 seconds to answer who you start bench cut on any topic pertaining to sports. During the fumbling that Brett's going to probably do, I might throw him an extra 30 seconds. Ultimately, we're going to see on this trusted committee of who wins my vote here. Start bench cut dunk champions. Ears open, eyes wide. We got Michael Jordan. We have Vince Carter. And we have Dr. J. Julius Irving. Start bench cut, gentlemen. I'm going to have Idris go first. Cut.
All right.
Start bench cut, start. Let's go. You have 90 seconds right now.
I'm going to start Dr. J. I'm going to bench Irving, and I'm going to cut Carter. I'm going to tell you why. Irving is the slam dunk. He took that thing to another level.
So you're starting Dr. J.
Yeah, I'm starting Dr. J.
All right.
Jordan, not to take nothing away, because Jordan was just like, but a lot of his dunks were what Dr. J did in his day. I felt Dominic Wilkins won that dunk contest between him and in Chicago. I think they gave it to Jordan because of, and the Spud Webbs. I felt Dominic won. Vince Carter had a great show. However, Vince Carter 6'9", 6'10". Jordan and Irving was 6'6", 6'7", and he did the hanging on the rim thing with the elbow and all that. But I see 2 men jump from the foul line. 2 men jump from the foul line, and the rules had changed just a bit, but not much. My opinion, I wasn't really that impressed with Vince Carter because of his height. You know, it's just like Larry Nance, the older Larry Nance in the dunk contest. His height just didn't. It was nice what he did, but
all right. Thank you, Idris.
Yeah.
Bretsky, you're getting 90 plus. Gave Idris a little plus there because I was looking up a particular fact when Idris was speaking on the height. Go ahead, buddy. You got 90 seconds plus of your own. Michael Jordan, Dr. J, Vince Carter. Start, bench, cut. Let's go.
I got Vince Sanity number 1, MJ 2, Dr. J 3. I'll give you Vince Sanity number 1. This guy is the ultimate creator, power dunker of all time. Power dunker.
All time.
This guy, all time. All time. Look it up. All time power dunker. This guy, dude, he's a human highlight reel. He is the highlight reel. He is.
Oh, you gonna give him Neek's nickname? Yeah.
No. Okay, no, he is. Vince Carter, Vince Sanity. They call him Vince Sanity for a reason. His intensity, his power, his dunking ability. MJ, I want to put on the bench. Great power, great speed. The foul line dunk, you called it. But the thing was, that wasn't even a foul line dunk. If you look at it, he was way past the foul line. Look at it. Look at the replay. He had the airtime. He got it. Was that a power dunk? No. That was a finesse dunk in the air. Great at finesse. Air Jordan, they called it. But Dr. J, yeah, I'm benching.
I'm going to be honest. This is fucked up because I actually disagree with both of you. Both of you made some points that I enjoyed. Hesitantly, and this actually bothers me. It's kind of like the Rams win. I hesitantly give Brett.
Is that still hurting you because I called it? Is that still hurting you?
Buddy, I'm about to switch my decision here. Don't talk right now. Listen.
That's still hurting you.
Listen. I'm going to tell you why I give Brett a slight edge. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you what points both of you made that I really enjoyed. Brett, you're 1-0. Congratulations. Idris, 0-1. I'm sorry. This is the only thing where you lost me, Idris. Because other than that, I think you were coasting. Mm-hmm. When you were talking about Vince's height, Vince is actually the same height as Michael Jordan, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. I looked it up while you were talking. He's 6'6" at 220 currently.
It must be the arms then.
Yeah, the arms, definitely the wingspan, I do believe gives him that look. I do agree with you also about Dr. J being an originator. And to Brett's point, I understand why he took Vinsanity. As far as the greatest overall power dunker of all time, I don't necessarily know if I'm going to say that because I still think that even though the prime was a lot less, I would consider throwing that over to Shawn Kemp in his prime. But having said that, my personal choices here, I'm actually benching Dr. J. And that's hard for me to do. But I do believe that while he was the originator and while his brand of basketball made it possible to popularize the game, I do think MJ took it to another level in the sense of just playing the game on that level in midair. But MJ would be my bench. Carter would be my starter. And that's why I agree with Brett here. That's why Brett gets the dub. But I appreciate the input, gents.
You got two people on the bench. You benched Dr. J and MJ.
I apologize. I meant to say that I cut Dr. J.
No, he cut Dr. J, bench MJ.
I thought he said he benched him.
I made it very well. I'm going to find out in a little while when I rewatch this episode.
I understood.
We are on got a few more minutes. We got we got to cut out of here before the hour mark.
Mhm.
But fellas, I appreciate the time, man. We had a lot to cover, and it's not always easy to always make sure that that is a real thing when you have so many hot topics. Is there anything on either one of your minds that you'd like to speak on quickly before we get out of here?
Yeah, Brett.
Well, I mean, the free agency and the draft is the biggest thing coming up right now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next month, 30 days.
I have a feeling that there's a show coming up soon for me, Idris and Quentin, that's going to be Giants only, so to speak. But no doubt, the draft is on my mind. Every day I wake up, the draft is on my mind.
Now, in your opinion, is this a weak draft?
No.
Is this
I think it's actually a very strong draft. I just think,
quarterback-wise, I think it's weak.
yes, I think that a lot of fans, and I'm going to say casual fans when I say this, have this predisposition that if the draft doesn't feature a bunch of quarterbacks, that it's a weak draft. I have a feeling that you have a lot of excellent, because let's be honest, offensive linemen don't have the same appeal in terms of viewership that quarterbacks do. But that's what wins championships, the game in the trenches. And I think you have a lot of phenomenal young players, interior linemen, offensive tackles, defensive tackles. You got a lot of good defensive backs. I think this draft is defensive heavy, offensive line heavy. And don't be surprised if there's a couple of running backs that get drafted in round 5 or 6 that are going to make a mark. I do think it's a little weak at tight end, and I think it's even weaker at quarterback, to Idris's point. I want to get together again soon, boys. This was good. I'm going to say one last thought. Major League Baseball delaying spring training until March 5th. Maybe I'm being an optimist, but I still think that we're going to get at minimum 145 games, and we might actually get the whole season.
That's all we need.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, with all the extra playoffs that they're presenting, the universal DH, they're gonna. I still think they could squeeze 162, but they're gonna have to, absolutely gonna have to go hard on double headers this year.
Yeah,
but I am not concerned, and I'm gonna make a bold prediction right here on the air. I think the New York Yankees, when they reopen the books, are going to go hard on Freddie Freeman. I'm talking about Bronx is burning George Steinbrenner hard when Reginald Martinez Jackson was in the BX borough, and Steinbrenner was not going to let him leave without a contract.
Right.
That is my final thought. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on my inaugural show with some company.
Yes, sir.
As you know, we're in the middle of a brand change. That's not the bird that I want on my logo, but you know, if he's gonna take a shit, Brett's underneath him. Guys,
it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure talking with you guys. I had a great time.
Yeah, definitely.
No, you guys are awesome. Honestly, man, my show is only as good as the guest I bring on, and both you guys bring an awful lot to the table, and I greatly appreciate that. And I hope to work with you boys soon. We're going to get out of here, but we're going to actually continue to speak a little bit. Everybody, thanks for watching. Take care and have a great rest of the remaining weekend. We are out.
Yes, go Pistol Pete.
He's getting the tongue there.